Hey everyone, this is Coach Mark Nolan with Donut Kicker Coverage, the only 100% podcast dedicated solely to the high school athlete and their parents. Hey, you know what? When we started this podcast over 2.5 years ago, we've got about almost 4,000 downloads right now. So we're really excited how well the podcast is doing. And one of the things that we started doing was, looking at the high school athletes, looking at NIL, looking at, transfer portal and COVID and all that kind of stuff. And, my heart always goes out to the guys trying to make it. And especially since Donut Kicker Coverage really was set up just to talk about the specialists, the kicking specialists and punters who really sometimes are overlooked. And of course, until it comes down to a clutch and you got to make that 50-yard, 50-yard game-winning field goal or that, booming punt from back out of your end zone to try to flip the field. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, tonight I'm excited to have on with us Mr. Jake Snyder. Jake is in the class of 2026. He plays for Denmark High School out of the Alpharetta, Georgia area, and he just got a full ride scholarship offer plus some NIL monies to the University of Memphis. So, Jake, welcome to Don't Outkick Your Coverage. How you doing tonight, young man?
Pretty solid. Thank you for having me tonight. Let's get
Okay,
going.
good. Hey, listen, we all have our journeys that we go through, and so one of the things that I want to bring up is when did you start on this journey to be a college athletic person on scholarship? And why did you choose kicking over another position or even another sport?
So at a young age, I started out soccer. Thought I was going to make it big with soccer. Was pretty solid with it until about my eighth grade year. Tried football for the eighth grade football team. Killed it. Went to one-on-one training. Got kind of a base set, and then found Coach Mark Nolan. And ever since then, it's kind of skyrocketed. So definitely the soccer background helped fix everything with the
Okay. So everything helped. So everything went from there, right? Just starting out with just basic. You went to a couple camps, so had some private lessons, and then like, hey, I'm out doing too well at this camp. I'm gonna try somebody else, and then you found me. I think your dad found me through either Coach Up or just doing a search, and we got squared away. Is that about right?
It's about right. And actually, fun fact, I saw you at Sharon Springs one time, a local park near me. And it was kind of like a God saying something to me at a young age. And then found you later in life. So it's kind of just one of those imaginary line things. So it's a pretty cool journey I've been
Yeah,
on.
good. I mean, that is pretty cool. So sometimes God puts people into our life at certain times. Sometimes He doesn't, right? So
Sure.
I'm glad you're wearing your Memphis shirt tonight to highlight your Memphis new new gigs.
Sir.
So did you play youth football at an early age, or did you focus on other sports growing up?
I did not. I was solely soccer. Thought I was going to MLS. Thought I was the next Clint Dempsey. Nah, kicker, man.
Oh
Punter.
wow! So you thought you were going to be going up the whole soccer route, like pretty much everybody else does, right? It's like, hey, soccer, soccer, soccer. I'm going to go at this sport. My mom and dad are going to get involved. They're going to have their 6 pump venti milk stirred goat milk on the sidelines, watching you guys play and playing 4,000 tournaments, going to Disney, going to Surf Cup, Score to Shore. Everybody's hooting and hollering, right? And you're
Right.
thinking, oh yeah, Clint Dempsey's got nothing on me, man. I'm going nationals. I'm going to go to World Cup, all that kind of stuff, right?
Right. Yes, sir.
Probably eat and slept and breathed, saw that the whole round ball thing, right?
Yeah, round ball, man.
Yeah, and
You,
good and good and good for those kids, right? I mean, as long as they got to focus, and as long as they're still trying to make it, it's all part of that dream. So when did you get start getting? When did you start getting to realize that kicking was going to be your main sport?
I realized it about after our fourth session. Realized I started getting really good at this thing and thought if I put my mind to it, really I can make something big and get free college at the end of the day. Maybe make it to the NFL. So definitely my fourth session with you about my ninth grade year.
Yeah.
So I really when I started to pick up things with form and technique, and that's really when it skyrocketed.
Okay. Yeah, and that's one good thing about looking at. Sometimes people talk about some of the moms and dads are out there going, oh, Johnny's got to play 3 sports, and he's got to do this, he's got to do this, he's got to do this, and everybody's talking to you about playing baseball, football, basketball, soccer, volleyball, whatever else it is, right? And then at some point in time, you probably either get worn out from playing so many different sports, or maybe you realize that the one sport you really love doing is, say, kicking footballs, and the second sport, say soccer or basketball, is really work. you're spending more time working than you are just doing what you got to do, right? So everybody comes to their journey and the realization of what they think they're going to be better at as they get older. So, when did you get serious about wanting to play in college?
I got serious about after my first camp. I'm a competitive guy for sure. So seeing those rankings ones makes you really want to do something special. So after those camps, really sparked my love for the game and made that competitive feel that where I could really do something.
Okay. Okay. So did you go down the camp circuits to get ranked? And how did you like that? Did you like I went to my first camp, I got ranked and you saw like, hey, I'm on the pecking order, I'm down on the bottom, or maybe if I get better, I'm gonna, if I get more training, I'm gonna get better. And how many camps do you think you went to over this journey? And lastly, how many would you recommend now that you've gone through this college bound scholarship journey?
Okay, so I did go down the camp circuit. I do recommend it to some point. I think that showing the rankings and stuff really puts you in a mindset of where you can go and what you need to do to get better and who's in front of you and just compare yourself to them. And so that really helps you mentally and physically because you have to work to outtrain them because they are ahead of you and they know they're ahead of you. So that's a good mark of where you're at. And I think that without that, you're kind of just don't know where you are and really don't take training seriously. So I do recommend all those training camps to some point. I probably went to about maybe 15, 20 camps overall with the college camps and everything, just getting a feel for everything with Coles and Chris Taylor.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I do recommend going to some. I can't really pick a number on those. It really just depends on how you do and how you feel you did. And I would say don't outshoot your goals with all these camps because at the end of the day, it's really just your relationship with the college and the coaches who you're talking to. So the camps do help to some point and it gets your name out there for sure.
Right. So I mean, and that's great. Thanks for that, Jake. And I know one of the things we talk about is the amount of camps. Which camps do we go to? Do we go to big college camps? I mean, I'm sure that when you started getting ranked higher, you saw dreams of playing at UGA or Oregon or Notre Dame or wherever it was, right? And you
Right.
started saying, hey, look, I got to go to these camps, and I'm going to get ranked, and now I'm getting higher ranked. I think I should be able to go to these camps. Do you still recommend that now? Now post, transfer portal and NIL, what do you recommend, the younger athletes, maybe their freshman, sophomore years, like how many camps should they go to? And, you talked about overshooting and with the transfer portal, if you're a 3.5 star ranked kid in the class of 2026, I would probably tell you, you're saying like, don't go to too many more camps or don't go to the Georgia camp. There's no reason to go to a Georgia camp,
Right.
right? If you're 3.5 stars, you're not going to get offered, right?
No. Yeah, it really shows like what you need to do to get better because with a 3.5 star, you're shooting. You're not going to go to those Georgia schools. You're going to go to those D3, D2, which there's nothing wrong with that at all.
Right.
Everyone's somewhere.
Right.
So
And to your point, there's nothing wrong with it because you can, just like those rankings in high
work your
school,
ass off.
right? You can go from a D3 ranking to a D2 to a D1 AA. I mean, look, there's plenty of guys, Aaron Rodgers, Cam Newton. There's a lot of baseball players that started at a D3 and moved all the way up. But I think to your point about setting the expectations is, how many camps do I go to, and why go to those camps and why not go to the other camps?
Right.
So I know that private instruction is also a major part of this. And, and basically in all sports and all youth sports, and without mentioning any names, is there one type you prefer over the others? For instance, the one-on-one or even some of the, what I used to call one-on-some training where there's, 15, 20 kids and one instructor. Or do you like more of the one-on-one type of instruction with you and the coach?
I'm definitely a one-on-one type of guy. I mean, I feel like there is a plus to one on some just because you're in a group setting. So that kind of brings out a competitive spirit. But if
Exactly.
you really want to dial in on your training and get better with your work, I definitely I like one on one for sure because
Yeah.
you just get dialed.
Yeah. I mean, one-on-one from the standpoint of the one-on-one setting, you and a private coach talking for an hour, hour and a half about And I agree with that because there's no cookie cutter approach. You can't train 15 or 20 kids in an hour and a half session all the same way. It's kind of crazy. It'd be like dating 15 girls at the same time. It's
Right.
hard enough dating one of them, right? Let alone 15 of them.
Don't want to get the try school.
So, here's a question for you. The recruiting side of the house is certainly a crazy roller coaster ride. And no doubt you've heard all of those Coach X's on social media telling you to, hey, man, come out to my camp. We're offering. And then afterwards, even if you did great and supposedly you're their number one guy, they all of a sudden ghost you.
Right.
You got your picture taken. The guy says, stay in touch with us, keep on sending film to us. Now, do you believe that's part of just the normal process? Or do you believe that some of those guys who really ghosted you already had somebody in mind before you went there and it was a money grab?
I think it really depends on the coach and what their intentions are. I think that most of the time it's a money grab if they're saying like, "Hey, big dog," like, "Hey, man, you're looking great," and then they know nothing about your film, nothing about you, nothing about your ranking. So a little thing I learned, actually, people should be paying me for this. So I figured it out. So what you do is when they say stuff like that, you're going to be like, thanks, kind of play around with what they said back, and then be like, I'd love to set up a phone call. And then if they're like honest and want to do the phone call, maybe they are a little bit interested in you, but you still have to watch your boundaries with that stuff. So most of the time it is a money grab, but sometimes they are genuinely looking for a kid. So they reach out in the means of reaching out for a kid, but they do have mainly a top three in their head already.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And no doubt you went through this,
Yeah.
with the camps that you went to, where I know you and I had several conversations throughout the cycles when you were going to different camps about, how do I make sure that I'm one of the top three, or how do I make sure that they're really offering.
Yeah, no.
And I know you had that one school that you're looking at as well, that when it came down to it, and we all thought they were going to offer. They went to your house, you had dinner with you, your mom made spaghetti meatballs, your dad had like 48 beers with the guys or something, whatever it was, right? And yeah, we're going to be offering. And the next thing when you called the coach back on the phone to tell him you're taking the Memphis gig, and you turned him on to one of your buddies,
Right.
it wasn't a full ride.
No,
It was a partial. So
yeah,
even from that standpoint, the great relationship that you had with that one coach back then,
yeah.
and your honesty, it still came back that at the end of the day, they weren't really offering they weren't offering a full ride.
At the end of the day, it's really just God's plan and where He wants you to be. So
Right.
I'm glad it happened that way. But for sure, it's definitely you definitely don't know what's going to happen until it happens. So you got to look out for yourself with these kind of things. So you don't want to get clickbaited. That's the word. You don't want to get clickbaited.
Correct. So, we've talked about this a couple of times, Jake, tonight on the call, is like, how really important is it to have an actual relationship, with these college coaches where, you are in fact engaged in real life discussions over DMs and text messages.
Oh, I think it's probably the most important thing besides your talent and in your playing. I think that, I mean, end of the day, it opens up the scholarship offers and the ability to go to college. So it really you just gotta be a great guy. Gotta meet the guys and you got bonds. It's really at the end of the day, that's the
Yeah.
thing you need.
And you probably saw that, right? And first of all, you got to do well at the camps, right, that you're going to.
True.
And you have to have some good conversations with the coaches on the follow-ups and everything else. And, you got a pretty good feel, for instance, at Memphis, that when
Yeah.
you went there, you were like, this was a camp that I did great at. I think it was part of God's plan. Like, I was hitting punts like crazy. I was hitting field goals like crazy. My kick goals were awesome. And, put you in that zone where you actually won the camp, and the coach is like, dude, we're going to offer you right now.
So yeah, I also want to give a shout out to all the Memphis coaching staff. I mean, I couldn't ask for a better coaching staff, man. I just feel at home, feel like family. So it's definitely a big part of the whole process.
Good. I mean, certainly, every relationship is important at this level, because, you're going to be going away from mom and dad, and your girlfriend and your dogs and your aunts and uncles and stuff like that. And you're heading to Memphis, you're heading 8-hour drive away, and you're going to be, staying there for the next 4 or 5 years. dealing with 104 other guys on a football team. Many of them you don't know. They're not from your neighborhood. They're from all the United States. So they're not all from Alpharetta, Georgia. All of a sudden, they're from
Right.
Alaska or Wyoming or someplace else. So, having that relationship with those coaches does mean something. So,
Right. Yeah. Because at the end of the day, they're going to be the ones that are putting you out there. So Coach Chris and
exactly.
Coach Andy are doing a wonderful job. So,
There you go. So, in your experience in this journey, how important is it to have your head coach, or your special teams coach backing you up and trusting you when it comes to that, big plus 50 field goal or that booming punt when called on?
oh, it's huge. They won't put you out there if they don't like you or they don't trust you. So at the end, another side of it is like the mental state. Like if you're kind of arguing with your special teams coach, I did for a little bit, totally fixed it all, and then had a great season. It really just makes your life more enjoyable. I could say that. And then head coach, and it's just trust, game on the line. Who are they going to put out there? Their starting quarterback to throw up a Hail Mary, or their starting kicker that they can trust. So I
Yeah,
always have
it's
a good
true.
relationship.
That's very, and that relationship also helps during the recruiting process, right? Because,
Right,
a lot of the times you're gonna, I know I get phone calls from coaches all the time about, how was his kid? How is he good or bad or ugly? And the head coach from the high school will have the exact same thing. He'll have a discussion with the head coach from Memphis or the special teams coach about, how do you act as a player on the current team? How do you interface and how do you discuss topics like, hey coach, I think I should be doing this, and he says, no, I think you should be doing that. So, certainly that dynamics will change once you get to college because you're going to have a bigger coaching staff. You're going to have 104 other guys, like I said, and those games are a little different than they are, here in the state of Georgia. I'm not saying that they're not important, but when you're on scholarship now, right, and someone's paying you to perform, you're going to be expected to have some really serious talent, especially if they're paying for a full ride.
right. And
Um,
another example of this is so Coach P trusted me enough last year, had a great season, and then he trusted me to become a man and talk to these coaches when they came into school. So I thought that was really special that the starting kicker, got to talk to all these coaches and really sparked the whole Memphis thing because they came into school actually and talked to me. So it's kind
yeah,
of a blessing in disguise. So
yeah,
Coach,
and it is. And again, you talk about that relationship, right? If you don't have the relationship, you're not sure what your coach is going to say to you. You're not sure what your head coach is going to say to the head coach at
right,
college. It's important to have that relationship that when they come visit you at your house, what kind of relationship you have. So
right,
all those things come into play. And speaking of relationships, how important is it to have a long snapper and holder? Like for instance, let's bring it back to a high school level, okay? So how important is it to have a long snapper and holder that you can rely on over just the head coach, a special teams coach, a week before the season starts, and just ask, hey, anyone out here want to be a snapper or a holder? How
right.
important is it to have that relationship with those guys you work with?
It's huge. The first thing you walk into the field is, well, let me restart. When you walk into the field, you don't want to be thinking, am I going to even get this ball off? Because this is the snap going to be good enough? Like, or am I going to get blocked? So that's just the first part. And just having a guy that you can rely on, so it's important. It's totally important.
Okay, and you got a pressure. And you guys pretty good operation time with your guys and good relationship with them.
Yeah, my long sniper actually was one of my best buds all through high school and middle school and even pre-K. So I've known him forever. So it's great. And I also think that he could really go to one of these FCS, FBS schools and start, but he got other plans. So yeah, it's
Hey,
really
that's right. He's got other plans. He's probably enjoying his life, and he's
right,
probably figured he's done what he can do, and he's happy about that. He's probably happy that he helped you,
right.
get to the next level. So that's pretty cool. So a couple questions left, Jake. I know you're busy. Looking back on your freshman to your current senior year, if there was some critical points that you would want to share with those younger kickers and punters out there, and yes, even their parents, what advice would you give them? For instance, the importance of proper stretching, weight training, getting in the weight room, not bailing out when everybody else is going in the weight room and heading out for the Shake Shack or something like that.
I would definitely say if you think you weigh enough, you don't. If you think you lift enough, you don't. If you think you eat enough, you just don't. So there's always something that you can be doing, and that's something that you need to be doing, whether that's stretching. I think stretching, I'll rank them. So definitely eating, getting weight is number one because mass moves mass at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Coach Mark was always on me about that. I
Yeah.
was a little 140-pound kid when I first started Mark, and now look at me. So number two, stretching and getting in the gym. So just working out and all that stuff because you need your body. It's a temple. And then number three is mentally. I definitely start either whatever you do, praying, get a little routine going, a little yoga. That's definitely helped me out with all my accomplishments.
Yeah, and that's very true, Jake. Especially the mental game. It's pretty easy to get down on yourself if you miss a kick.
Right.
It's the mental side of the game when you miss a kick, but you're not doing the other things like the stretching and like the weight training and like the nutritional all aspects of it, right? That makes a longer season even less healthier, and you tend to get more stressed out. You tend to lose weight, and you tend not to perform. And you look at the bets that we made with me and you and a couple other guys. I mean, I think you went from 140, 145 to 180 now, right?
145 to 185 right now.
185. I mean, so that's 40 pounds, and that's a huge difference. And when you get to college, you're going to be playing probably freshman year. You're going to put probably another 11 pounds on you freshman year.
Hopefully.
So they'll probably have it about 180, 195 by the time your end of your freshman season's done.
Shoot, I'd love to walk through those Memphis doors my first day at 205, but gotta be realistic. Hopefully around 180, 195. So
There you go. I mean,
hopefully.
again, you look at the nutritional things they're going to offer you. You've seen their nutritional aspects, right? You've seen the weight room.
They do a
Nothing.
great
I'm
job.
not knocking them or in high school, but you look at what the stuff you're going to have there from the nutritionalist standpoint. You're going to have a mental coach basically helping you out. You're going to have, all kinds of people that are going to be on a support staff. We used to only have 10 coaches allowed. Now we've got, some coaches are 15 or 20 coaches that are helping you out, especially ones that are even helping you out with the mental side of the house.
Right.
So, I'll tell you what, can you just please wrap this up and tell us a little bit about the school you're attending on scholarship and why you chose that school over the others?
I'm attending the University of Memphis. Could not be more than happy or anything. I would not choose anything over it. A little bit about it. So I went for a camp, absolutely balled out, met Coach Silverfield. I've been talking to Coach Andy and Coach Chris for a while now in this whole recruiting process. So when I got there, I felt like this is home. So went out and balled, received my first scholarship offer. I committed on the spot just because I realized I don't see myself anywhere else, and I don't think that I want to play anywhere else. I thought Memphis was my home from the minute I walked on campus. So that's really special to me. I think that God really wanted me to be in Memphis, just leading up with my whole journey from soccer to all the road bumps in my life. So I'm on, yeah, full ride scholarship. So it's great. Coach Mark
Well,
led me here. So
what's that?
I couldn't be here without Coach Mark. So couldn't give
Oh,
out.
thank you, thank you. I mean, it's been it's always a combined journey. You got your mom and dad, you got your brother. Like I said, you got everybody around you that helps out. One of the things that I keep on talking about, that God plans works in our life. Sometimes He brings into people's lives, and your dad actually said that. I
Right.
think our first lesson. I
Right.
think after our first lesson, your dad was sitting there reading. I think he was reading the Bible or maybe reading a Catholic book, and he said, "I really believe that God put us in this plan." And that I can tell you that's probably not the 100th time a parent has told me that. It's probably closer to the 1,000th time.
All right.
You know,
Man.
so and you've got some great discussion points. You've had to meet some other guys around you. I know that you
Right.
and Johnny are pretty good friends. You've
Yeah.
developed some relationships across the United States with other guys. I mean, you didn't take the offer at that one school, but your buddy did because you gave him his name and they made that offer.
Right.
So that's pretty cool. So that's how God works, right? God works, in a lot of ways. And sometimes it takes a year or two, but yeah, I guess the last thing is you just got to learn to trust the process, right? Is that
Just
what
gotta
it
work your
comes
ass
to?
off every day.
Okay. So you have any closing comments you want to make to the group before we sign off? Jake?
I just want to say, just keep working hard. That's really at the end of the day. Trust your training because I trusted mine with Coach Mark, and it's led to only greatness. And I think it's going to continue with this journey with us training. I definitely get a workout plan and a meal plan. What's that called? What's that called? What is
Nutritional
yours called?
guide? Yep.
Yeah, nutritional guide. I definitely get one of those. Those help a lot. So Just at the end of the day, just keep working.
Yeah. Okay. Well, look, ladies and gentlemen. Well, first of all, Jake, thank you so much for joining us. I mean, this is a special time
Thank
for
you.
you guys who are specialists. You get overlooked a lot of times. The media guides usually has, Jim Bob, Billy Bob, and Dontavius and everybody else, right? And so this is an opportunity for us as specialists to shine in the things that we do. Not that your school's overlooking you, but, I take personal umbrage to make sure that we give shout outs to all you guys. And I know Chris Sailors is happy for you. I know Jamie Coles is happy for you. Everybody else that you've been through this journey with, I certainly am happy for you. So, with that, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to conclude our first discussion with Jake Snyder tonight. And once again, this is Don't Outkick Your Coverage. I want to thank you very much for joining us. And please like and share and comment on all the things we do. And until tomorrow night, when we'll be interviewing Johnny Genti, another good buddy of
My
Jake's,
boy.
stay tuned for another great episode. And then Thursday night, we're going to have Ballant on, who's going to be going to Georgia State. So Johnny's going to be going to Georgia Tech on a full ride, and Ballant's going on. So Georgia State. So, man, the three of you guys are knocking it out. And I just can't be more proud of, how far you guys have come along in a very short period of time. So, Jake, thanks very much for joining us. Thanks for sharing us. Tell your mom and dad thanks for allowing us to come into your house tonight. And please, everyone, like and share Do Not Kick Your Coverage. And we'll see you guys all later on.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
How's that?
It's great.
Take care, Jake.
Yes, sir. Later, coach. I want to add one more thing, actually.
Yes, sir.
To be the best, you have to train with the best. So you have to train with the kicker zone.
Hey, thanks, brother.
Hey,
That'd be part of your NIL deal. How about that? I'll have to give you some NIL shout out money for playing with the best and training with the best. But yeah, you guys are great talking to, and
Sure,
I'll see you in a couple of weeks, and we'll get together.
Yes, sir. Thank you,
All right,
coach.
brother. All right,
Later.
have a great weekend.
Yes, sir. You too.
Take care.